What's good, my people? It's Career 7. I'm back. You guys probably remembered me from the rant that I pretty much released on our defeat against Brighton last season. Pretty much, being a supporter of Liverpool, it's been a huge deal for me to actually see us actually succeed. And last season was a bit of an anomaly. I want to believe that's pretty much the case because it's kind of like our worst season. Unprecedented things happened with smaller teams. And when I'm talking about unprecedented, I'm talking about since the Jurgen Klopp era. Okay, so now pretty much I've been looking forward to the end of the season because a lot of my friends have been waiting for when I was gonna pretty much release my next view. They've been looking forward to hearing my views on how we're performing, and of course they want to see how their own teams compare to Liverpool as teams stand. But I figured, what, the last team was supposed to be a thing to be scrapped. I wasn't even too concerned about us making Champions League. The only reason why I actually want us to make Champions League was just to actually boost a chance of signing Jude Bellingham, whose name is probably going to occur soon enough within these conversations. But pretty much what we're doing right now is, as the season actually started, it looked like Liverpool were cooking, right? Things were pretty much starting pretty great. We signed, two players in Soboslai and McAllister, and it looked like we're going to get a few more to go because pretty much the issue with Liverpool last season was pretty much very, very well documented. In my opinion, the breakdown to how the defense and the attack actually sort of like crumbled because we kind of like also put in our all-time low in terms of like attacking output, as well as of course to shift in the maximum amount of goals since we became the new force, dominant force that we are. All right, and of course that pretty much put City and Arsenal only competing for the title. And of course, there was a pretty much pretending time when Manchester United tried, but of course, with Ten Hag taking over for just their first season, what they've achieved is pretty much admirable. So I'm going to admit that. So now where are we right now? This is the eve of the Premier League. It seemed like the perfect time for me to actually air everything out so that I'm not super excited earlier on because it was very, very easy to be. We had already gotten two players in through the door while other people were still trying to negotiate. Arsenal was sort of like stalling and dragging with, Declan Rice, even though they knew that obviously people pretty much thought it was going to be a done deal. The Manchester City, intervention was more or less pretty much a stunt, so nothing to write them about. But now, where are we? Okay, like I said before, our issues were very much documented. It was all about the midfield. Liverpool's midfield has never been the most flamboyant, if you guys can remember. It's always been about grit as well as about running and all that. So hard work, everything. And with that hard work, they take care of issues at the back and issues at the front. Trent Alexander-Arnold has never been found wanting in the past because the defensive midfielder in Fabinho and Henderson back in the day were doing the absolute jobs. And of course, we had Ronaldo as well to also do other things as well. So pretty much everything is all there. So you're probably hearing my son's voice in the background. You might hear it occasionally on daddy duties right now. So, but going back into the video that I was trying to discuss here. All right. The main issue started to get addressed pretty much simply. We got super sly, very, very technically gifted, attacking the central source winger midfielders, and of course we also had McAllister, very, very good with the touch and go, very, very good with ball retention within tight spaces, able to find a true pass through the eye of the needle, all that kind of good stuff. So we're cooking. I was pretty much excited, and it looked like I said we're getting back to business. But the major issue, like I said before, the one issue that kind of like made us not defensively, porous or defensively frail was obviously having a very, very established number 6. And we had Fabinho, who was one of the best, if not the best in the world during that period when it was actually bossing things. And of course, he lost his legs, in my opinion. I don't think it was sort of like a one-off because, he's had to just do with right time in the tackle. He always seems to be just a little bit late, a little bit short. He dallied about with the possession of the ball in the wrong spaces. And, overall, it was not, his last season with us wasn't pretty much great, but I have fun memories of him, pretty much happy about him. Of course, my captain, John Henderson, Boston Sprout, and he looked leaner, looked fitter. This is when he came in to preseason. Unfortunately, that offer came in, and in my opinion, I feel like a lot of things were handled wrongly, heading towards what's pretty much going on right now, which had to do with the search for the new number 6. Catherine Turner was pretty much cited at first. For me, I see more of a box-to-box sort of like midfielder. Not an ideal sitting 6, but of course it means he can get the job done because at least he has the legs, right? Because we also saw Wijnaldum do put in a graph during that particular period when Liverpool was pretty much, at the top of the game. And then, of course, our love story with Romelu Lavia has been the one has super existed, all right? Has sort of like been occurring over and over. And what has actually been funny and amazing is that Liverpool has never been one club for the longest time now. And whenever I'm talking about Liverpool, I'm talking focus currently in the club era where we've actually had to dilly-dally around with regards to transfers. It's never been the case for us. But Romelu Lavia stuff got pretty, a bit messed up. For me, I'm not going to be one of those guys going to be delusional and say, hey, you want to play, you sign a player. It was very reasonable why they were not trying to meet up the £50 million offer that was set for the player. First of all, we have to understand that Lavia has pretty much just only spent one season, although he did play a lot of games, which is pretty much good. At age 19, a former Man City, prospect who pretty much, went to Southampton, and he did a decent job, and when he was out, Southampton missed him as well. But we have to understand, first of all, he's 19, he's only had one maiden season in the Premier League. He's not proven yet. £50 million seems like an astute, a price for, a club like Liverpool to go for, considering the fact that we actually even got, McAllister for only, 40, right? Someone who's a World Cup winner, for example. Szoboszlai only for 60, someone who's actually well known in the German league already. I know people who say German league players are not super proven yet. The likes of Kai Havertz is still, found wanting, to see the juice out on them. Shaka only pretty much shown towards the end, like towards the final years of his period at Arsenal, but then there have also been great, German players, like Mr. Ballack as well, the likes of, I'm trying to remember who else has sort of like bossed the midfield, or at least sort of like bossed the game, coming from Germany. I don't want to dwell into that because I didn't try to like note that right now, but pretty much what's been happening is that we're having Romelu Lavia right now, who is still pretty much only 19, who's pretty much only just played one time in the season, and even last but not the least, he's currently playing for a team that actually got relegated, and they hope to get £50 million on them. Here's the thing right now, the transfer window is pretty wild. With the way the prices are going now, people are reevaluating the cost of their players. So, and obviously it's also due to how much they value them, and they understand, the needs of the big clubs are actually coming for them, which is actually why I said Liverpool actually handled the business wrong. I believe, the way they actually got rid of, I want to get rid of the way they allowed Henderson and Fabinho to go. They shouldn't have actually allowed that until Romelu Lavia was at least secured. And even Romelu Lavia's coming in was supposed to actually be a bit of a supplement to Fabinho actually staying. That way it can be a bit of another study and catch up a lot quicker. And of course, be the main man, within the season, or at least the following season. It's supposed to be a project just like Nunez, right? Unfortunately, the other two players left, but that's sort of like open funds for us, and that brings us to this Caicedo, drama that is pretty much happening as of currently right now. I was hoping that that would sort of have been sealed. We know what he's doing a medical, and then by the time I release my video, we're pretty much looking like a full set midfield, and the only thing that we need to address will be a back, at least a competent center back that can challenge Van Dijk and Konate for a spot that would actually keep both defenders at the top of the game. And also, in my opinion, a right-sided center back, so that way they can also cover the space for Trent whenever he actually has to go into that inverted position that he runs into in midfield. Now, where does that leave us, as a club? I know the Premier League is about to start shortly. We're about to face Chelsea on Sunday. I'm going to be discussing the whole Chelsea drama in a different video, probably maybe even after the City game or something. But pretty much what's happening right now is let's analyze those who are potentially going up, for the Champions League places. As you guys know right now, there's going to be, first slot along with Man City. We know Man City is not going to be out of the top four. That's definitely for sure. They were the current winners and the league winners previous season. So they actually, what that has done is they've given up to like 5, including Man City. Man City has one of those 5 to actually make it to Champions League. So Man City's position in Champions League is all but secured, and 4 teams can actually join them. So it's not going to be the traditional 4 teams going to Champions League, including Man City. It's going to be actually 5. So that means there's 5 spots up for grabs. And in my opinion, the guys who are sort of like going to be contenders in those 5 spots, I believe Arsenal's definitely going to be there. I believe we already know City's already sorted out. I'm not going to, this is not a bias. I believe Liverpool is going to be there. I also believe United are going to be there as well. I think and I'm going to be talking about why I actually believe this in a short period of time. Okay. I also believe, you know, the outsider Chelsea, I believe Chelsea will be there. I know people are like, a bit doubtful about that. So for me, I think it's City probably win the league again. For me, I know Arsenal, between Arsenal and Liverpool coming second. So let's just go right now with Arsenal coming second, Liverpool coming third. And this is not me just being pessimistic. This is me expecting some certain situations to occur, because if Caicedo goes through, my analysis actually changed. I actually believe we're going to be shining for the title. But right now, it's not looking like the case. We'll see how that pans out. But like I said again, City first and Arsenal second. Liverpool third or United fourth. And I believe the last spot would probably go to Chelsea. I'm bent to say Newcastle, but I think participating in the Champions League is going to overwhelm them. It has typically done it to most clubs that actually go through it in the first time, except City, I believe, because City was already pretty much extremely strong. But if you notice, they didn't finish strong, during that season as well. I think they came like third or something. But yeah, let's go back into that. Let's see it. So now we need to compare where we are right now with these other people. Why I think these guys are going to go in the position they are. Arsenal feeling strongly. Like, they ended in a whimper for sure, but they had at least an A+ grading for last season, and you don't expect them to sort of slap back. Sure, it might seem like a bit of also like an anomaly for them to actually have challenge, but they were sort of like building up towards where they were, and all they've done is strengthen. Okay, look at the transfer they brought in. They brought in 3 key players right now, which is people who I believe they needed. Declan Rice, for example, Kai Havertz, an extra attacking option, as well as Jurgen Timber, a very, very a talented center back who can also play right back as well. So they were up and they pushed forward. All right. Now Chelsea, they were a bit of in shambles. That's where my concern is. But because they have Pochettino in the run for now, and I actually highly rate Pochettino, I think they're not going to perform as poorly as they did last season. Finishing the bottom half of the table, that was pretty much unprecedented. That was pretty much insane, right? But they've gotten players like Nkunku. Unfortunately, he's not going to be playing against us this weekend. I'm not going to say I'm sorry about that. Honestly, you want to make sure you have your best high chance of winning, but I also want to face the best. I'm not going to lie about that, because that actually will make us better. But it's a good chance for us to get 3 points for sure. They've got Axel Disasi as well, Nicholas Jackson, who I actually have been impressed with in the preseason, and Leslie Guchuku, Robert Sanchez, and Angelo. I think one of the 2. I'm just trying to read the name properly there. So they've gotten actually 6 players right now. They actually see going for, I believe they sort of pulled out of the Tyler Adams, release clause that they actually triggered, because they want to put all that full emphasis on Caicedo. Somehow they think they have a chance of getting it. We're going to see Brighton come through with regards to what the expectations were. All right. But they are getting 6 players so far. They obviously have a lot of players that sort of learning out here and there, and also probably have sold. So, but they've sort of loaded up. So they still have like a strong, contention when they actually start. However, this is a case of like too many cooks who can spoil the brutes. A lot too many player profiles. There's going to be a lot of time required for gelling, right? They haven't lost any percent game yet, so that's something that's on their side. With Man City had sort of like the epitome of, world football right now. I'm not just going to say, the Premier League football, world football in total. They have lost 2 key players. I do rate Gundogan highly, as well as, who was the other player that they've lost? I know Mahrez. Mahrez is a serious game changer, very, very explosive, a winger, and they've lost him as well. But they're pretty much sorted. They've always been very, very strong, so I don't think they have any problem. However, they have added a world-class defender in Vardiol, as well as Kovacic, who's a reasonable replacement for, Gundogan. Not quite Gundogan, but at least not super far off. I would say maybe if Gundogan's a bit of a 5, I give him like a 4, maybe, or 3.5, 4, 3.5, 3.75. Let's go in between 3.5 and 4. But, not far off, so he can still get a job done. And, of course, they have, all the other player profile that they have. They have one of the best managers in the world at the minute, So City, obviously, they're going for it. The only thing is, nobody has actually won the trophy 4 times in a row. So this could actually also be extra motivation for them, and also, the fact that they actually won the treble could also be a bit of a, you know, when you're just super excited, you've done it all. The motivation factor will it be there or not? But then they have Pep Guardiola. I don't think Pep Guardiola is going to allow that sort of thing happen. So I don't think that's going to be a problem for them. United, they did improve last season. They had a new manager. They got rid of who they think and didn't require, like Ronaldo. Looks like also, you know, who else did they get rid of as well? I know they're going to of a bit of players, but right now they've got new players. Right now, okay, yeah, De Gea is also left, but that's this season. They've got Nana to replace him. I don't think it's quite that same pair of hands, but at least on an attacking front, I know he's definitely going to be able to add extra. What I mean, I don't think he's quite that same pair of hands. I'm not saying that he's bad. He's actually good, but like he's not. The hair has certain saves in him that typically some certain goalkeepers are not making. The only problem thing is that he sort of like mitigated that with, or should I say, kind of balanced out with that occasional error that I sort of would give, which is kind of quite unfortunate for him towards the end of the season because he was pretty much a great keeper. And the fact that he had to go on a free, it is what it is. They've got Mason Mount as well. I've got a reservation about him as well. Kind of like I'm on the same bracket as Havertz, but I think, in my opinion, Mount is still like the better of the two in a way. The problem that he doesn't have a specific position, while Havertz has his as an advanced midfielder / supporting striker, but he doesn't do the finishing job properly. His movement is pretty much sublime. I'm not going to lie about Havertz. So looking at either one or the other, that's going to be another angle to look at who's going to actually succeed more between Mount and Havertz in their first season of their respective clubs. Arsenal obviously got a better place, but it doesn't mean that the play individually are going to be better, in a better position when the season goes halfway towards full way. And of course, they got Rasmus Højlund, which is a bit of a controversial transfer in my opinion. Relatively almost unknown until when the season came. Most people only have YouTube clips of his performance. He's not really been a focal eye. Observers, however, say that he has potential to be someone who's really great. Whatever kind of player profile, I have no idea. I have no idea really, but he's nursing a bit of a back injury right now, and back injuries, pretty much from what I hear, pretty much terrible stuff. And we're looking at a case where he might not actually, even be fully ready when he actually returns from injury. Like he may have to be used sparingly. So it's kind of like tricky because it's supposed to be their main center forward, and United had a set forward position. Rashford turned up for them last season. Was pretty much amazing for them, but I also think that was a bit of an anomaly. Like, I don't see Rashford as someone as a finisher, a goal scorer. Of course, he's always going to right defensive, no doubt, taking the balls to the byline and that kind of stuff. But, that's his preferred position, the left wing, forward, whatever. But we're going to see how that's going to work out for United. But I think at least they have 4 players in, and I don't think they're done. They also got Evans on a free, and I think they still probably have maybe, what's the favorite term player as well? Amrabat to also go for. So that's another way to go. But look at us. We actually are the only team out of the aforementioned teams right now who have gone backwards. Now that's not even all. We still have like the Newcastle as well and Spurs. Okay. Now with Newcastle, they went forward. Like they actually did well. They're gonna have Champions League as something to actually distract them. But I think they've gotten like good personalities like Tonali, Harvey Barnes is there. Livermore also came in from Southampton, as well as Minte. They've gotten players, and I don't think they're done as well. They're getting high profile players that are trying to back up that Isak transfer they did last season, and they look like at least they went forward. They made themselves stronger. Wilson still pretty much there to actually get them the goals as well. But I think that's going to be the main focal point for each season. I don't think it's going to be dilly-dally like the way it was last season. But Wilson's always pretty much someone that is also a strong firepower for them to have. So they're pretty much in a strong position as well. Spurs, however, went backwards too. Like Liverpool, they went backwards, but they have actually done a lot in transfer with it to try and mitigate that issue that they actually faced. They've gotten Madison, they've gotten defender Mickey Van, they've got Pedro Porro on full contract right now. They've a lot of other ones I saw people that have been there like Reception as well, finalizing their whatever. But they've gotten a lot of people to come, even Solomon on the free, who I actually rate highly. I've actually rated him. I used him in my fantasy league quite a bit because I know when we played in Ukraine. I actually enjoyed, his style of play. So, like, pretty good players as well. However, they did get one massive hole, in the chest, which I think almost supersedes what they currently have. Or it could actually be a blessing in disguise in that now they know that they no longer have that focal point in Harry Kane, and they can now work more as a unit than actually as a one-man team. Because sometimes that's really what happens. So take that, major, source of strength in that, talisman that you have in your team there, and you think you can go for the worst, can go for the better. We have an example in Coutinho. He was criminal to our talisman when we actually sold him for the record fee that we did. And of course, look at where we are right now, or at least where we've been in the past couple of seasons. Right now, we're trying to get back to those kind of eras. But with only 2 signings so far, no recognized number 6. That is really, really a problem that I think that we actually have right now in our hands. And I'm hoping that we can actually resolve this issue. With the Castillo situation, it's kind of like unfortunate, but I kind of understand to a degree. Most of it is going to be down, to mercenary tactics, and I'm going to try to air my opinion on what I think about how that deal sort of transpired and why Liverpool are having a difficulty crossing that over the line. And after the transfer fee was actually agreed with Brighton, but we're going to see how that actually works out. What do I think in the end? How am I looking forward to this weekend? We're facing Chelsea. That is pretty much for us. It's one game at a time right now, and hopefully by the time we're in Christmas, we're in contention for the title. Right, and then we can now try and push for that. That, in my opinion, is the realistic target. Of course, based on the way things are and the way other people are trending, we also have to be a bit considering the fact that they're also going to provide that challenge. But I am very, very sure that the core of the team hasn't digressed as much. It was just a core position that sort of like got a bit rotten, and we sort of almost addressed it. We just need to recognize number 6. But Chetik is still out and just trying to get back to fitness. Thiago, we can't always depend on his fitness, but he's still sort of there, and we know that he's not really, really a solid player when it comes from a defensive standpoint. He does try, but he's more akin to giving out fouls and missing tackles and all that kind of stuff. So, and of course, Trent, he's more creative than defensive, so you don't want to waste his potential just lying as a deep 6, right? Although he can be a bit of a Xabi Alonso type player because he's still akin with the tackle when it comes to it. His only issue is just covering and tracking back. That's, I think, where Trent sort of like fails, where he sort of like would need to improve. He wants to make that number 6 his own, but I think a number 10 would be more preferable in my opinion for Trent, if not like inverted right back that he's currently playing right now. So what do you guys think with regards to your team, how they're gonna perform? I'm going to talk about my team's particular lineup for the weekend and why I believe that's the case real quick. I believe I put it down, so I believe Alisson is definitely going to start in goal. That's not in doubt. Trent should be the right back, definitely not in doubt. We're going to have Konate, Van Dijk, they're both fit, so he's going to start. Robertson as well is going to be playing left back. Now, this is where the position that is very tricky is that we're not sure. I don't think I see Curtis Jones playing the number 6. I think it's going to be McAllister is going to be the one that's going to cover number 6 position for sure, because he sort of has a bit of experience in that as well. We'll see how that pans out against Chelsea. So besides, if we're going to start as well, we're going to be the creative spark as well, along with McAllister. And then this is where the other tricky part is. For me, I think we should go with Curtis Jones. He's earned it. He played exceptionally well towards the end of the last season and was pretty much one of the players of the tournament in the Under-21 championship. So I believe he should pretty much should actually take that position. But then it could also be a chance for us to try the Gakpo advanced midfielder role, because I'm pretty sure that Chelsea is not going to be their strongest stance right now. I see them getting stronger as the season goes, and that's why I actually rate them as actually making the Champions League in the end. But, right now is a good chance to try the Gakpo, whatever, but also, Curtis Jones. I don't think you're getting it wrong with either one of the players that they go for. This is because the focal point is what's key. I believe Diaz should actually start, and Salah obviously is a no-brainer. He's our talisman, our main G, so he's going to definitely start for us. Now, this is based on precision, based on how everything is gone. It looks like the likely starter was going to be Gakpo if Curtis Jones just take that position. If Curtis Jones doesn't take it, then we're looking at Jota actually taking the forward position as well. There's also the case for Gakpo and Jota actually playing and Luis Diaz sort of missing out, but I think Luis Diaz is hungry, he's point proof, and he's that major creative spark, right? And then again, but for me, if I were to pick, I would actually pick Nunes right now. I think Nunes is the one guy out of all of them that actually has the potential to be the main man. But I think there's a bit of a concern with his tracking and defensive ability contributions. Don't know should they get that right, and especially with the fact that we don't have a proper number 6 right now, it is critical for us to actually ensure that we can still defend, because Chelsea are also a ball playing team as well, not playing like a team that's going more defensive than offensive. So we should actually have a good balance. So that might be what works against Nunes starting. But I think when it comes on, it's definitely going to cause terror, and it's definitely going to be coming on as a sub as well. But that's pretty much the lineup there. And of course, one to watch for me with regards to youth as well. Ben Dork, I said it first on this channel right now for all my friends and all my viewers out there. The guy is going to shock you guys. The guy, for me, even in a better potential than what Raheem Sterling actually showed during his time at Liverpool. Sterling was a bit of a silver smooth kind of dribbler. He is like super direct. Like he reminds me of like a Rooney-like kind of player. And I'm not actually blowing this up. I don't. You guys know me, back in the time when I was in, lag and all this kind of stuff. I kind of mentioned a player that has a huge potential, would typically fulfill it. So you guys should watch out for that name, Ben Dork. It's definitely going to be one to break into the first team eventually. Probably going to be Salah in the study, and maybe eventually replacing when Salah has to move on. But otherwise, that's pretty much all my view for today. The Premier is about to start. Are you guys excited? Let me know what in your comments. Let me know what you guys think. Who you guys think is going to be in the top 5. Let me know your opinion as well with regards to my analysis of where we are right now. Am I overreacting? Do you think we're pretty much good already? Am I right in my analysis, or do you even think I'm actually even still deluded, and maybe we're actually even worse than we actually think that we are? Because right now I think we just need a proper 6. We need a defensive backup, and maybe an additional. I think we just need one player in terms of number 6. If we get Roman Lavia, I think we'll need one more with Roman Lavia to kind of make it safe. If we get Caicedo, then that would be great. It's going to be a bit tricky because, for him to not have agreed yet, it's tricky for us. But that's pretty much it for me today, guys. You guys have been waiting for my videos. I know one of you guys probably want to see was also some bit upset. It's a clean slate for everyone right now. It's a clean slate for Liverpool. It's a chance for us to actually try and cement our place once again and let everyone recognize that we're back and that we can get back in the Champions League and actually do what we have to do. But yeah, that's pretty much it from me, Grade 7, and that's all I have to offer today. Watch out for my Caicedo videos coming out before the end of the day, and I'll let you guys know how everything transpires in the end. I'll let you know my opinions of how things are going, and I don't want to be going bit by bit, because we have to make sure that a decision is made. And I think with the way Brighton are working, a decision will be made by the end of the day. It's been your boy once again. Make sure you smash the like button. Share the video with your friends. I'll let you guys know how things go out by the end of the weekend. Once the matches are all played, we're gonna do a quick review of it as well. And yeah, peace.